Poor Things is a 2023 film directed by Yorgos Lanthimos and written by Tony McNamara, based on the 1992 novel by Alasdair Gray. The plot follows Bella Baxter, played by Emma Stone, a young woman in Victorian London who comes to life through a brain transplant and embarks on an odyssey of self-discovery. Critics identified multiple genres with elements of comedy and steampunk. Steampunk is a subgenre of science fiction that incorporates retrofuturistic technology and aesthetics inspired by but not limited to 19th century industrial steam powered machinery. It was nominated in 11 categories at the 96th Academy Awards, including Best Picture. In Victorian London, medical student Max Macandales, played by Remy Youssef, becomes an assistant to eccentric surgeon Godwin Baxter, played by William Dafoe, the mad scientist who also serves as Bella's father figure. Bella calls him God. Max falls in love with Godwin's ward, Bella, a childlike young woman. Godwin reveals that the woman who was pregnant killed herself by leaping off the bridge. He replaced the woman's brain with that of her unborn fetus, resulting in her having an infant's mind, and named her Bella Baxter. Bella is messy, curious, impolite, violent. Right after she meets a stranger, Max, she smacks him for no evident reason. Everything here is uncomfortably beautifully bizarre, from the performances and dialogue to the direction, cinematography switching between monochrome to color, meticulous production design, and costume design. Lanthimos worked closely with costume designer Holly Waddington in order to reflect Bella's growth and development through her wardrobe. From the more puffy silhouettes of her childlike era to the nearly corseted gown she wears at the film's climax. Stone further elaborated on Bella's growth, reflected through her costumes, detailing how in the beginning of the story Bella dresses in more traditional clothing of the era and following her transformation, begins to dress herself in more bizarre clothes. Stone said, I loved that element of how would Bella put clothing together with the way her mind works at this point. At the end, there are these very military looking dresses that look like nothing you have seen Bella wear. Things are much more form fitting and constrained. But that's because she come to a place where she grown and decided who she is and what she is going to do. She is not assimilating necessarily, but there is just more structure there. With Godwin's encouragement, Max asks for Bella's hand in marriage. Bella accepts, but as her intelligence rapidly develops, she becomes curious about the outside world and herself. By exploring her own body, she discovers masturbation and sexual pleasure. She runs off with Duncan Wedderburn, played by Mark Ruffalo, a debauched lawyer whom Baxter hired to overhaul the nuptial contract. Deciding to let her go, Godwin starts a new experiment with a young woman, Felicity, played by Margaret Qualley, who matures much more slowly than Bella. Bella and Duncan embark on a grand journey, starting in Lisbon, where they have frequent sex. That journey is supported by delicious eccentric score by Jerskin Fendrix. The gradual build of intricacy and sophistication in the music brilliantly mirrors Bella's intellectual growth. Bella wants to travel the world, eat every kind of food, and read lots of good books. Stone gives magnificent performance. In one interview describing her characterization of Bella, Stone was attracted to the idea of portraying a woman reborn with a liberated mindset free from societal pressures. It's such a fairy tale and a metaphor. Clearly, this can't actually happen. But the idea that you could start anew as a woman, as this body that's already formed, and see everything for the first time, and try to understand the nature of sexuality, or power, or money, or choice, the ability to make choices, and live by your own rules and not society's. I thought that was a really fascinating world to go into. When Bella becomes difficult for him to control, Duncan smuggles her onto a cruise ship. Bella befriends passengers Martha and Harry, who open her mind to philosophy. Duncan is miserable when he learns about her new life. He dislikes her independence and growth. He wants to, she remains childlike and innocent and under his control. He becomes exasperated and indulges in drinking and gambling. During a stop at Alexandria, Bella witnesses the suffering of the poor and becomes distraught. She entrusts Duncan's winnings to unscrupulous members of the crew, who falsely promises to give it to the needy. Unable to afford the rest of the trip, Bella and Duncan are dropped at Marseille and make their way to Paris. Seeking money and accommodation, Bella begins working at a brothel. She learns about the world's pleasures and cruelties. Duncan, enraged, has a breakdown and Bella abandons him. She finds him annoying. At the brothel, she comes under the tutelage of Madame Sweeney and befriends another prostitute, Toynetty, who introduces her to socialism. Stone especially appreciated Bella's lack of shame in regards to her experiences. Even though Bella has obviously been through trauma in her life, it just isn't there for her now. She was the most joyous character in the world to play because she has no shame about anything. She is new. I have never had to build a character before that didn't have things that had happened to them or had been put on them by society throughout their lives. It was an extremely freeing experience to be her. Godwin, now terminally ill, asks Max to bring Bella to him. Max locates her after tracking down Duncan, who has been institutionalized. In London, Bella reconciles with Godwin and renews her plans to marry Max. Discussing the male characterizations, Lanthimos acknowledged that while each male character was different and had his own individual motivation, they each represented male attitudes typical of the story's Victorian setting. Lanthimos stated, there are variations, I guess, but in this film, there is a general tendency to try to control Bella, even if it's done in a caring or subtle way, in the way that a parent might, or that Dafoe's character Baxter does, or just being infatuated in the way that Rami is. You know, being a nice man deep down, but still having the characteristics of a man of that era. Stone also asserted that the more agency Bella gets, the more she learns and grows, the more it drives these men insane. The more she has an opinion and her own wants and needs and all of that, it makes them crazy. They want her to stay this sort of pure thing. The wedding is interrupted by Duncan and General Elfie Blessington. Elfie, addressing Bella as Victoria, declares that they were married before her disappearance and that he has come to reclaim her. She abandons Max to learn of her past life, but discovers Alfie's violent and sadistic nature and realizes Victoria killed herself to escape him. Alfie confines Bella to his mansion. He threatens her at gunpoint to submit to genital mutilation. Demanding she drinks a sedative, she tosses the sedative in his face, and after a struggle, Alfie accidentally shoots himself in the foot before passing out. Godwin dies peacefully with Bella and Max at his side. Bella decides to follow Godwin's footsteps by becoming a surgeon with the help of Max and Toynetty, while Alfie has a goat's brain transplanted into his head. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and share this video, do subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the bell icon.